think because companies don't have that practice of governance over it the way that, like, I think when you're in a regulated space, you might. I think that it makes it kind of like the wild, wild west, and then nobody really knows if they're doing it right. Because how do you
Right.
know if there's nobody else to tell you if you're doing it right or not? There is nobody. So it's hard. So my parting gifts are templatizing intake forms, right? Like, here's, make sure they know to give you this information in this format. Make sure, like, your dashboards, here's one that you can use and you can replicate, you can copy it, and then just plug in the new data. So then this way that saves you time, but also it gives something to your stakeholder that's asking for it. So
Hmm.
it was a learning curve for me
Right.
this last year and a half as a consultant. I can't say that I didn't have some tears giving my babies away, you know. But overall, I think that that's the best that we can do as a
Hmm.
consultant, is just that we have to know that we can give recommendations and suggestions. We can give them the empowerment to do some of these things on their own and templatize stuff when you can, do recordings when you can. But ultimately, if you're not there, you have to be able to say, like, it's gonna be okay. It's just gonna have to be okay. And and if it isn't, it isn't. But at least the time that you were there, that you gave a good impact, and something that can live on after you're there.
Yeah. No. One thing that I found when I was consulting, um, and I wasn't consulting in on the social intelligence side, but just in general, is that once you have that approval from leadership to come in, sometimes you get the stink eye a little bit from senior, or the more advanced leadership, in the mid-level leadership, because they may feel a little territorial, right? Um, so one thing that I like to always do, just in general with consulting, is making sure that I get that buy-in from the top, and then helping implement those habits, like moving forward. So whether it's a monthly or weekly stand up around a certain topic, or a surefire way to kind of set up, or making sure that booleans or things are set up correctly. It's like implementing those systems so that it's easy for them to continue to do that. And then I think I love one thing that you said too, is about anchoring into that jobs to be done. Every department has a job that they need to do, whether it's move product, whether it's reputation, whatever the jobs to be done in that department, understanding what that is, and then making sure that social intelligence tool stack and workflows are aligned to that jobs to be done could help that, again, become part of that habit, that process that could be there left over. But I love the way you kind of broke that down, because it's true. Because I think that, considering that it's a growing space, you're going to see companies trying to grow this from within, but then also companies bringing people in like you to kind of come in and get things rolling and then leave. So that's the challenge though in our space, is to just make sure that it all kind of comes together. Because personally, and you're starting to see it yourself, um, the space is growing. It's not going
Yeah.
away at all. And the channels, there'll be more social media platforms, more ways for consumers to connect with each other. Um,
Sure.
and with AI, I mean, there'll be more emphasis on certain types of content in the
Yeah.
next years to come. So, but let's switch back over to some of the marketing stuff, since we're both marketers, but we love this stuff, right? When you're integrating this social intelligence stack, the social intelligence practice into your marketing strategy, what are some of those overall areas that you want to consider, um, when specifically looking into an area of marketing for your strategy, versus just kind of calling out? Okay, this is an easier way. Let's break down what the finding is versus an insight. I think that's a better question, right? What's a finding when you're out here doing that research and you're doing your listening, versus what's an actual insight that you can take and make something with?
Yeah, and I think you almost like really quickly defined it, right? Because a finding is in that moment, right? And
Mhm.
it might impact something in the moment.